Hello, everybody. So, we have got a beautiful view of Saturn right now in infrared from my telescope in the backyard. So I've got a 12-inch Ritchie Chrétien telescope in the backyard. So that means that the aperture, the opening, is 12 inches, and yeah, so it's quite large. Try to make a little bit more light. Anyway, it's in my backyard right now, just hanging out. And so feel free to fire away with any questions. I'm going to be doing some planetary imaging of Saturn now, and then later I'm going to be doing some imaging of Jupiter and the Great Red Spot. So looks like the atmosphere is actually playing along somewhat decent. So we're gonna hopefully have a nice view this morning. Actually, it's 3:15 a.m. where I am in Johannesburg, South Africa. So I'm just gonna adjust the focus a little bit, set the gain. The gain is a little high. So Saturn is currently rising a little bit. Higher and higher as the evening progresses. And so it's going to slowly get brighter. And we've got to adjust it as the evening goes along. I'm going to try and keep the gain on my camera at about 80%. So I've got a control panel here that I control the camera with. I've got a focuser here so I can control the focus remotely. Back and forth. This is the histogram of the camera. This just tells me how much hard drive space I've got left. Right now I've got 150 gigabytes, which if the night goes as planned, I should probably end up using most of that. This tells me which filter, whether or not I want to capture video, what profile I'm using for Saturn, and then here are the gain and exposure settings for the camera itself. So like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to fire away, ask anything you'd like. I'll do my best to answer them. And I'm just going to go ahead and adjust the focus a little bit, like I said. I've got things kind of popping in and out. But overall, it was looking pretty good. The skies were very, very clear. Let's just hope that the atmosphere also decides to steady out. Looks like I am getting some high frequency wobble from the atmosphere a little bit, but that'll come and go. So that's pretty normal. had the focus pretty dialed in as I thought. I'm kind of going back and forth between one side of focus to the other to try and find the sweet spot for the planet right now. Because I don't want to try and do any sort of actual image capture if I don't have the focus as good as it can be, because there's no point. So I'm running right now at, that program is telling me about 5,800 millimeters of focal length. So it's a really big lens. Excuse me. I just woke up. I set my alarm for 2:15 this morning. Got things up and rolling for the live stream and my imaging session here. So it looks like I'm spending a lot of time focusing, and that's because I am. Focus is the pretty much number one most important thing about this process, as far as things that you can control. So you just kind of have to do your best to control the focus as good. I don't know right now. Heinke, I'm going to say your name is Heinke. The seeing currently, I would rate it at, I want to say maybe 6, 7, maybe around 7 out of 10. So it's pretty good. But this is in infrared, so that may change when I look at some of the luminance in the color channels. Infrared's always quite a bit better. Definitely cuts through. So up here in the corner, you might be able to see if it's not too small on the screen. It gives some information about what we're looking at as far as just the telescope itself. The software does this automatically. It tells you the estimated focal length based on what it knows Saturn is supposed to be right now, at a diameter of about 17 arc seconds. Yeah, it seems like this is about, I don't know. Seeing is not as good as it was before. Definitely more like a 6. No, I'm having trouble getting it dialed in. the last few nights, the jet stream, I think it's been the jet stream has been causing some seeing condition issues. Usually the seeing should be really good right now, but it's not. It's deteriorating now, unfortunately. But we're gonna wait around and see what we can get. It's not just about the photos here, it's about sharing the view as well. Seems to be kind of popping in. What I'm looking at here is the shadow, slight shadow between of the planet the slight shadow on the rings behind the planet body. I'm trying to get that nice and tight, as well as the Cassini division. So it's the division between the A ring and the B ring on Saturn. And then down here, when it is good, you can actually see the shadow of the rings on the planet Saturn. So hello, Sean. You've got some South Africa for me, do you? Like I said, fire away with any questions. I'm happy to answer. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm still struggling with this focus a little bit, as usual, but that's the way it works. It seems to be popping in and out, in and out. I'm again controlling the telescope in my backyard remotely, so I can be inside and warmer. It's not that cold outside, but when you sit out there, I think the focus is actually, it's popping in and out, but I think it might be decent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do a 120-second capture. It's a 2-minute capture of Saturn now in infrared. I'm going to use a clipping box, so it's only going to capture, to save hard drive space, it's only going to capture what we see inside this box. That's the only part of the, oh, and as soon as I say that, the telescope decides to move around. So the software itself is actually keeping the planet centered for me in the field of view of the camera. It responds quickly. I've got a little program here. It's just a virtual hand controller for the telescope, and I can control it as if I were sitting next to the telescope. So it works pretty well. There's one glitch with it I'm trying to work out, but the seeing just tightened up nicely, so I'm going to go ahead and capture. Now the scope responds pretty quick. So you can see there it's capturing up in the corner here. It'll tell you how big the file is, the frames per second. I'm currently at 40 frames per second for infrared, and that's just because the exposure time has to be quite a bit longer. When it's infrared, it's just so dim in infrared. So, and then this is how many frames I've captured so far. So I'm going to do 2 minutes of this, just because infrared is so dim. And then I'll go through, I'll capture a few different runs. Uh-oh. No! See, there you go. It just misbehaved. That just happens every once in a while. What? Now it's going nuts. Yo, back and forth. This is not good. Jeez. So I'm actually going to stop the capture because we lost it. What a pain. Just got to bring it back into view now. So this is my, oops. This is my telescope view of the finder scope for aiming purposes. Okay. So I can put the planet right in the center of the crosshairs and then shoot it again. I still haven't had a chance actually to get a better telescope pointing software going. I've just got this remote observatory, if you want to call it that, going, and still kind of working out the kinks. Sorry about that. And we're back. Anyway, so now I'll leave it there so I can watch it, and I'm going to go ahead. Nah, you know what? I'll zoom it in for you. Put it over here in the middle. All right, we'll do that. Okay. It's a struggle. I need to figure out a better pointing software. Let's start that again. Okay, so now we are shooting again. So some of this is me moving the camera around, the telescope around. Some of it is the software. So let's see how quickly. Okay, yeah, I guess I said. Any other questions, let me know. So we're capturing at 40 frames per second. I've actually got the exposure time at 25 milliseconds. Of the camera, and the gain is at almost 400, so it's pretty high up there to make sure that I'm keeping about 80% histogram on this. And yeah, so as far as the moons and things, we won't probably see many or any of them. The moons of Saturn are very, very dim in comparison to, say, the moons of Jupiter. It's misbehaving again. At least it was at the end. So that's backlash that we're getting. Saturn is pretty high in the sky now, just like Jupiter. So I don't. I'm gonna look at where Saturn is. I've got a planetarium type of app going. Let's see. Saturn is down here below Jupiter, there it is. Oh yeah, the moons are, oh, there's a couple of moons nearby, but nothing worth looking at. So Saturn is about 60 degrees off the horizon at the moment. It looks like our atmospheric conditions are declining a little bit again. Not bad now. Okay. Go ahead and do another. Focus a little bit and then I'll do another capture run of Saturn. Oh yeah, that's better. That's a little bit better. Okay. Do this again. This is actually pretty cool. You can see this. This is pretty good seeing now. Not too bad. You can see that Cassini division between the A ring and the B ring. Pretty nice. Oh, and then it just takes a dump, but it'll come back. And then that shadow here of the planet body on the rings. It just sits right there above the rings and just, it's beautiful. And that's going to get smaller and smaller up to July 20th. When opposition, so there's a point in time where the planet is the brightest and the closest to Earth that it's going to be in the current orbit, and that's when it's directly opposite the Sun, and Earth is in between. So it's opposite the Sun and Earth is in between, so the Sun is directly on it, so there's going to be basically no shadow. There's going to be this really cool point where it's just the planet body and the rings and no shadow here, so there's no offset at all. So when I do these image captures, I'm going to basically do about 4 infrared image captures in a row, okay, and then combine them using special software that maps my captures and then layers them on top of each other to make it as smooth as it possibly can be. Oops, come back, you. Why did it do that now? That's just annoying. There we go. Okay, so put that back again. This thing is just, it's gonna drive me nuts eventually. Anyway, do another capture. To keep that going. You can also tweet me questions on Twitter. You can throw questions on Instagram. I'll try and check those. Occasionally as well. Try and monitor that. Yeah, every once in a while we're getting some really good views here. Let's just hope that it sticks around. Whew! Check that out. That just got bad. See, I want to see. I've been looking at some of the weather applications to try and tell me what the hell is going on with my location. It's currently about 9 degrees centigrade where I am here in Johannesburg. Okay, so that was our third capture. Gonna wait for the scene to come back and wait a few minutes maximum, and then pop it back in. Yeah, it's really kind of popping in and out here. This isn't great. We've had a run of not great seeing conditions, not great atmosphere for a while, so. Almost looks like it's windy, but it's not. I'm focusing again, just to try and see if I can clean this up at all, but this is definitely some atmospheric vibration going on. Which makes it very difficult to focus. this is rough. Yeah, so seeing is deteriorating quickly. This is definitely not a 6 or a 7. This is more like a 5. The struggle is real here, kids. At least it's not cloudy, right? Yeah, I'm going to do another capture just to see if we can punch through this vibration. Sometimes it's amazing what the software can stack. Oh, you bastard. Come back. Come back. There we go. I mean, you can see the details just fine, which is good. So I mean, that's cool. That's cool. I could probably try and capture some color data after this and just see what happens. So I'll do that. Do this again. These files are pretty small when I'm capturing such a small area on the camera view, and wow, scene conditions really just kind of crapped out. That's okay. You know, good nights and bad nights. That's kind of how you have to look at it. Atmosphere is not that great. Okay, so I've done about 5 infrared captures so far with this marginal seeing with spots of good. I'm gonna do, just because the seeing isn't that great, and I don't care about color when the seeing isn't great, I'm going to adjust focus again, and then see what else I can do. Because fiddling with focus is always the right thing to do, isn't it? That was the wrong direction. So I'm moving the focuser in and out with a motorized focuser, which is by far the best thing, and I've said this I think in every live stream, it's the best thing that can help this kind of imaging. I am just so annoyed with the atmosphere the last few days, the last few times I've been up shooting. It's just not been good. This is just not nice. Not nice. I'm gonna say Saturn was at about 65 degrees now, and that's as good as I can. As good as I can do here. It's too far in the other direction. I'm hunting for focus right now. Waiting for that right moment. Waiting for the atmosphere to play along and just be nice to me, and it's not. I'm not even going to bother with color. It's probably not going to even be worth trying. So what I'm also looking for with the focus is there's a brighter area of the equatorial band here, and then this up here there's actually a darker spot. So if you can kind of make out that darker spot between there, then you know that you've kind of got it dialed in, but it's really difficult to tell. Ooh. difficult to tell right now. This is not great. I think that's the best we're gonna get. I'll go ahead and do another capture, and then we'll be done with this particular run, unless things get considerably better. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Because I'm curious, I'm thinking maybe we'll load up a couple of these captures to see if we're cutting through it all. We should be able to tell. Oh no, it seems like it's stabilizing a little bit. That's good. Doing these about 120 seconds at a time. So that's we should move over to Jupiter actually, because this is not great. Oh, but then again, I do like should we do Saturn in color? It's hard to say. Let's look at red. So I'm going to switch over to the red filter. Okay, so it says it's ready. I am going to shoot color because this is looking great. I mean, not great, good enough. Let's call it good enough. So this is luminance. We're going to switch over to infrared again. So that's back where we were. I thought that was quite a bit brighter. Oh, damn, that whole time we were using. Oh my god. I'm an idiot. I forgot to change the friggin'. We were not shooting infrared before. That was green. Yeah, green or red left over from when I was shooting the moon earlier. Oh, how dumb is that? Okay. God. I feel like an idiot now. Ah, see, that's what happens. That's what happens. Shit. That is infrared. Okay, now I bet we can dial in the focus with this quite a bit better. Because oh my goodness. This whole time I've been looking at the wrong filter. Now it's coming in a little bit sharper. We were looking at either green or red before. Oh, I'm gonna have to rename all of those. That's fine. So let's see. I'm gonna make a note of this to rename from IR is green from 4 to. What a dope. I'm a dope. Let's actually look at infrared. Now this is that noisy infrared that I was talking about. Much more. My apologies. That whole time we should have been shooting color, so we're gonna do it now. But first, now that I've got infrared actually dialed in, thought so. But, oh, there we go. That's better. Yeah. That's better. Okay, so seeing is still jumping around quite a bit. That's okay. Gonna capture this again just now as soon as it stabilizes. Huh, okay, so yeah, we were looking at green or red before. Now it's actually infrared. Go ahead and do that. That's not the end of the world. I mean, if it looked good, it looked good. But I'll just have to make sure I made a note of it in my notebook that that was the correct, or that was, you know, to change it to the correct filter. So now I'll do these infrared captures so that I can stack these together when I'm finished. Jupiter and the Great Red Spot, which is in view now. Do another one. Because the atmosphere is stabilizing. Don't ever trust defaults. Yep. So let's see if I learn my lesson. If I learned the lesson that you don't trust what you thought you had set before. It is what it is. So yeah, like I said earlier, I'm capturing 120-second videos. And then I'm putting those together in post-processing. And so then I'm going to capture 60 seconds of each color and put those together. I'm going to do a bit of a focus adjustment here. That's not my alarm, that's the neighbors. I just heard a rat or something. Okay, so now the scene conditions are deteriorating quite a bit. All of a sudden. I'm having to hunt around a lot more than I was. Hmm. Maybe we got some more stable air-ish. Stable-ish. And just as I say that, it goes crazy again. Not good. This is not nice. Okay, do another capture and see how this goes. I really would like the air to stabilize, but it's just not happening. Okay, so that was. I'm gonna do another one though, because if seeing isn't great, I can maybe stack a whole bunch of them together that are noisier. That can also help. We'll see. Sounds like the neighbors are having alarm trouble. Yeah, the atmosphere is actually stabilizing quite nice now, all of a sudden. I saw a few decent frames, so we'll keep shooting this infrared until we can maybe get some and keep some good stuff. So I'm just going to keep this going. And I can remember that this is the actual infrared and the other one was green or red or something. Like an idiot. I swear seeing conditions were better earlier, but it's been worse. This is actually going to be okay for Jupiter, I think. We should see some nice GRS details. I'm going to go ahead and take one more infrared capture, and then we're going to go and switch the scope over to Jupiter. Okay. Yeah, this is looking pretty good for that. Okay, so we're done with Saturn now. I need to go get the GRS going. So I'm going to do that now. And also, in the meantime, I'm going to, while I'm aligning the telescope to Jupiter, I'm going to show you a 4K video that I shot of the moon earlier tonight. If that thing would ever freaking, there we go. So I shot this 4K moon video earlier tonight. Through the telescope. And I'll let you watch that now while I go and align the telescope. So this is beautiful now. We've got Jupiter back. Alright, we have Jupiter back now. This is beautiful. It's actually looking pretty decent. You know, that's not bad. That is not bad at all. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so we can get a good view. Woohoo! I'll take it. I will take it. That's pretty good. Wow, that's actually really good. Holy smokes. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Now that we've got it on infrared, I'm just gonna capture Jupiter IR. Definitely on IR. We need to do a clipping box. That is just amazing. So right here, this white spot, this is actually the great red spot. It's coming in from this side and it's slowly going to move across the planet. That's actually a good view of Jupiter. Wow. Very, very nice. I'm going to take a photo of that and I'm going to tweet that because that looks great. And let's do a screenshot. That's very, very nice. Yeah, wow. So we're capturing now infrared Jupiter. So nice. So very nice. Looking good. I'll take it. I will take it. Yo. Love it. When a plan comes together. Very, very nice. Jeez. I'm going to try and tighten up the focus a little bit, but it's quite stable. And then we can see the different colors. Like that. That's pretty damn good. Yeah, that's actually pretty damn good. Believe it or not. So this is the way things look in the telescope, in the camera view. When it's a monochrome camera, when you're looking at Yep. So we're going to do about 4 or 5, maybe 6 captures of infrared of this, and then we're going to move on. We're going to do color of Jupiter. That's nice. Wow, that's really nice. I'm happy with that. Definitely very happy. Whew, it's looking good. So I was in a rush because I was so excited. But hoping I didn't screw that up. Again, let me know if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. Okay, I'm gonna put a quick Instagram out there. As soon as I do another image run here. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay, Jupiter's easy. So hey, we've got Jupiter on the live stream right now. I'm going to show you what it looks like, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. So that's the screen on the live stream. So go check it out. The link is in my profile. We've got some people on YouTube watching, and you can go ahead and join in and let me know if you have any questions or anything. It's looking good. So hey, we've got Jupiter on the live stream right now. I'm going to show you what it looks like, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. So that's the screen on the live stream. So go check it out. So hey, we've got Jupiter on the live stream right now. Really tight, getting better and better. This is an infrared, so let's see, I gotta figure out how many of these captures I've done so far. I don't even remember. Sorry about that, I'll get that out of the way. This is the fourth one. Do one more and then we're going to switch to color after this. So we'll do 5 at least infrared captures, and then we'll switch to color. Did I say 5? Ah, you know what? Maybe more. Because I really want to try and get a nice image out of this. So the GRS is actually right here. This is the great red spot. But yeah, we'll switch over to color after this. Refocus on green and then roll with the rest. We're almost done with infrared now. Okay, now we're gonna switch over to color. This guy is done. It's funny, I didn't even look at the histogram. Okay, I need to have a checklist of things to look at, but it's fine because it's already pretty much set right. Okay, so we're gonna look at green. Oh wait, was I wrong? I was wrong. That actually wasn't the GRS. This is the GRS. I'm silly. It's coming in now. That was just nothing. This is the GRS. My apologies. Where is now? I'm gonna pull up Jupiter on my planetarium so I can tell you exactly how high it is. It's quite high in the sky at the moment. It is 81 degrees above the horizon right now. And I am grabbing focus here with the green. Okay, so I went too far, that's fine. Try and tighten that up a little bit. So I'm going to get as tight as focus as I can with this. And then that will translate to the other color filters. And as is per usual, the normal visible light colors are not as good as infrared, but that's normal. So I just need to try and, oh, this is a pain getting this focused in. Okay, so I'm going to set my histograms to about 90% for each, which green is already correct. Let's switch over to red and see how red's doing. Red is, how's that? It's a little high now. There we go, that's better for red. Let's go check out blue. So this is blue, and it's too high. That's better for blue. Okay. You can see the GRS coming in now. It's almost 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I need to get this color run shot. Switch back to green. Try and get focus dialed in a little tighter. It's not great, it's a little muddy. Infrared might be our game again. Color is always a problem. I don't know why, it just always is. It's just those visible frames, visible colors are a lot more difficult. So, see if we can get that any better. We seem to be kind of getting out now. Not cool. Okay, well, it seems to be as good as we're gonna get. So I'm going to switch to red. Oh, we need to look at lume though. We need to look at luminance. We forgot. Okay. So there's luminance. It's a little high. There we go. Focus is difficult tonight. It looked good in infrared. Just doesn't look very good here. Not very happy with this at all. I'm going to switch back over to red so we can start a color capture. Jeez. Ugh. Yeah. Look at green. Yeah, okay, so we're just going to do a color capture run now of this. 60 seconds each color. And we're going to go ahead and go. So we're going to capture 60 seconds of each color, and then I'll combine those in post into a color image. Put more of the stuff on the screen so there's a little more action, so we can watch what's going on. So I'm going to be over here. I'm going to end up having to adjust the telescope. I'll do that in between colors, probably. Oh, I need to do it earlier. There. I mean, that doesn't look terrible. It's not terrible. So, I suppose I can be happy with it. This won't be the worst I've ever captured, I suppose. But we'll do as many of these color captures as we can before the sun comes up. We should have about a half hour before the sky starts to brighten. Let's hope. So I'm not even going to bother changing focus on blue, even though it should change a little bit. There's not, I don't see it's popping in. I see more detail here and there. Seeing is also deteriorating. Here and there, but there's not a whole lot of detail in the blue channel, so I'm going to leave it alone. Leave the focus alone, and we'll go with what we've got on the blue and focus on the red and green and loom, rather. Although I haven't been using luminance lately, because it hasn't been adding too much, but sometimes it does. So I'm going to keep capturing it. But it looks nice. I mean, we've got the GRS here. You can definitely see some cloud detail, but it's bouncing around quite a bit. So we've definitely got a jet stream, something happening above. At the moment. Okay, so switch back over to red. Let's center the planet again. do another run. I'm just going to do a few of these. Yeah, so I've got some pretty fast jet stream moving at about 10 kilometers up in the atmosphere. 11 kilometers, it's even faster. So it's not the greatest, but let's see. It's just not stable up there. I think it's causing that blurriness. But I'm going to try and get a good image out of it anyway. So this is the red channel. In about 8 seconds, it's going to switch over to green, and that'll make the great red spot a lot more visible. So we'll let that keep going. So you can see some action here. What does this do? Does that pin it to the top? It does. Oh, that's just handy. Should have done that before. Okay. Okay, so we just did RGB, and we're going to do another one of Loom. And then we're going to go back to red, and we're going to start it all over again. And try and fill up this hard drive. I don't even care. Bring it on. Okay, so there's that. Recenter it again. Switch to red. Do we need to refocus? I'm going to check as soon as red gets up here if we need to refocus. I clicked it once. We'll see if that changes anything. It might have. Okay. Keep shooting, keep shooting, keep shooting. Maybe we'll get a decent image. I really want a decent color image of Jupiter. I'm just like chomping at the bit for this. Yeah, it almost looks like we did get some better air all of a sudden. Things seem to be a little tighter maybe, although I did click the focus button. So we'll see. Pretty much just talking to myself, which is fine. It's kind of what I end up doing with these. I keep myself company. So this will be our second LRGB run. It's actually starting to look real nice as the GRS rotates into view. So there's the GRS there. It's just going to move its way across there over the next about 5 hours, so we'll catch some of it at least. As soon as this is done, we're going to switch back to red, do it again. Okay. So, switch back to red, start it all over, and do it again, and again and again and again. So we can get lots of data, and then we can stack it all together, and we can possibly make a nice image out of it. I don't know about you, but I don't want Monday to come, even though Monday's already here. It's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock in the morning here in South Africa, and yeah, I've got to start the day soon. Now we're switching back to green. So we can see the GRS now, and as the atmosphere pops in and out. So yeah, the GRS is here. It's going to move its way across. It would be nice if I could get a color camera. However, monochrome shooting like this in black and white and shooting each different color channel separately actually makes much better images at the end. Hey, Clyde. Hey, Clyde, if you're listening, you missed the bad seeing. I would say for me, seeing is like maybe 6, 7 out of 10. 6 or 7 out of 10. It's popping in and out as we go on. It's difficult difficult to tell. I mean, I'm getting some detail, but here's blue. This is blue right now. The infrared, I did about five runs of infrared, and it looked pretty good. So everybody, Clyde Foster, he's one of the best planetary imagers in the world, and a lot of the planetary guys that only do planetary, like Clyde, do it for science. They're not really interested in social media stuff, and he's consequently lives here in South Africa as well. And we've been chatting and trading notes and stuff, and he does amazing work and submits it to science, which is what I've started to do as well. And he's been doing great stuff. So I can't even tell you where to go follow him, because he doesn't post his images on social media, but he does post them for the Planetary Scientists, which everybody can look at as well. So maybe I'll post a link to one of his images on my Twitter feed in a little while. He's got his observatory, and looks like he's going to be shooting now as well. Hopefully we've got a little time to shoot these RGB runs, and then I'll probably go back and shoot another run of infrared maybe after I've got these color runs done. I'm not sure. Let's see, how many of these did I do so far? I need to check. I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my 4th. I'm gonna do a few more, because I want to really try and get a decent color image out of this. So we'll switch back to red and go with it. Let's hope we get some good stuff. Yeah, the scene just pops in and out. Sometimes we get really nice stuff, and sometimes it's just bad. So if we can do I'm gonna try something, and I'm just gonna do a whole bunch of these runs in a row and accept fewer frames, noisier data, and then roll it all together in derotation with WinJupos. So that's what I'm gonna try and do. WinJupos. I don't know if it's os or os. Yet another live stream where I'm trying to pronounce stuff. So I'm struggling with the telescope again. But that's okay. It's actually been behaving. I think I found the secret with this remote control I've got. So Clyde, I've got the next best thing to an observatory. I'm sitting in my study in my house, watching the captures come in as I control the telescope as it's outside. So it's about, I don't know, 20 meters from me outside, and I'm connected to it with the Wi-Fi screen share using TeamViewer. So I'm sitting here in my study comfortably, not too cold, and it seems to be working pretty good. So it makes it much more comfortable than having to sit outside and struggle. So I can actually capture this data and not be super duper cold. As usual, blue's not looking that great, but honestly, for blue, that looks pretty good. I mean, I can see differences in the color. I can see a little bit of detail in the cloud bands here. I can even see some detail on the top and the bottom area of the planet. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm tentatively optimistic, I think, with a lot of this. So we'll see how that goes. I've got a little, I need to adjust my polar alignment. I still haven't even properly polar aligned this mount since I put it out for planetary imaging. Generally the polar alignment, I mean, yeah, it helps, but it's not required to be perfect for planetary because you can adjust as you go. So I've been lazy with that. But man, as much as I've had to sit here and adjust the declination axis, it just tells me that my polar alignment is definitely out by a little bit. It would make my life easier because it's always out in the same direction. Maybe after I'm done shooting, I'll spend a little bit of time adjusting it. Wow, so we're done already. Okay, let's do it again. Again. Okay. If I can get this to go away. Go. Get that back up. Start this again. Just keep it going. Using this cutout capture box, this white box, I'm using a lot less hard drive space than I was before, which is good. Rather than capturing the whole frame. There's no moon events that are really happening. I'll turn on the ephemerides. See. Yeah, the moons are pretty far away from the planet right now, so it's not really helping me much. It always amazes me that the difference. So, my friend Clyde here in Johannesburg, or in South Africa, he doesn't live in Johannesburg, but he shoots with a 14-inch telescope. I shoot with a 12-inch telescope, and the amount of detail that he can get with only that little bit of extra aperture size is quite a bit. So that 14-inch telescope is really quite a good instrument for capturing this planetary data. I'm really impressed with what he can pull off. It's really good. It's so weird seeing it so bad and then comes back and looks really good sometimes. So it's just in and out, in and out, in and out. Maybe that's a good thing. That's insanely good for blue. It's probably going to stack bad, but it looks... I'm actually impressed. The GRS is really standing out in the blue because there's not a lot of blue in it. So it's darker. So with these color filters, the lighter it is on the screen that you see, the more light it's letting in. And so obviously with a red spot like on Jupiter's GRS, it's not going to be very bright on the image because there's not a lot of light in it. Okay, so we're almost done with this one of Loom. We're going to switch back to red again because that's what we do. So what I do with this is there's a 4-second delay in between my captures so that it gives time to the filter wheel to change. The filters, because it does take a little bit of time to do. So I changed to red first, and then it will do that. I think I can actually set it to move to the red. Oh, you're on Mars tonight. Okay. I'm sticking with Jupiter at the moment. Mars always frustrates me. So Clyde is imaging Mars. It sounds like right now. I'm going to wait till Mars is a little bit bigger before I start messing with it. So when Clyde here in the comments, Clyde is saying seeing is somewhere between 5 to 7 on Mars. That's pretty much right along the lines of what I was thinking as well. I was thinking 6 to 7, but I mean it's just an estimate of what, based on experience and looking at what we see on the screen, what we're saying when we're saying seeing, and these numbers 5 to 7. What he means is 5 to 7 out of 10, 10 out of 10 being the best, and trying to judge what we're looking at and the quality of the sky and the atmosphere at the moment. And atmospheric seeing basically just means how stable the air is and how that affects the image that we're able to capture with our telescopes and our cameras. The more jittery and the more junk there is in the atmosphere, and the faster the wind is moving at different atmospheric layers, whether it be 10 kilometers up or more, and then closer to the ground, we get sometimes good images, sometimes bad, and it affects it in lots of different ways. And that can include heat currents, temperature differences in between the layers, differences of actual wind speed, moving junk around, pollution, all kinds of things. So, yeah, when he's saying 5 to 7, what he means is, 5 to 7 out of 10. 10 being a perfect, stable image that's just easy to focus on, and all of that, that's like the holy grail, and it rarely happens. And when it does, it's just, man, you get excited. I'm not that excited about this one right now, but this is what we've got at the moment. I'm looking at some apps to try and show me what we've got, and we've actually got about 24 or so meters per second jet stream winds right now at about 9,000 meters, according to this weather app that I'm looking at. So it seems to be the jet stream that's really messing with our mojo here. But let's see what we can do to try and mitigate the issue. I'll refocus a little bit here on red before I capture. Yeah, it just took a dive. All of a sudden, is it my focus that died, or is it the atmosphere? Oh goodness, it's so hard to tell sometimes. Okay, go ahead and call that as good as it can be for the moment. And shoot. Let's do this. So in red, the GRS is here. It's similar in brightness to the other colors in the red right now, because Jupiter has got, it's kind of a warm tone to it. Whoa, calm down there. It should come back. Okay. Yeah, so that's why we see the GRS kind of disappears in the red channel, because it's in similar intensity to the other colors. Yeah, the stuff lower level, I'm looking at, according to this app and the measurements that it's doing. I don't know where it's getting those measurements, but the jet stream at the lower level is good up when we get around 7,000, 8,000 meters. Yeah, 10,000, 9,000, it's bad. 10,000, it's bad. 11,000, it's bad. Everything. So we've got some high level fast jet stream that just looks like this. It's moving quick, and you can see the scale there maybe. And so that jet stream is moving, that's in the 25 meters per second range, which is pretty bad, and that's probably why we're getting this terrible scene, if this app is correct. But it makes sense. I mean, it's what it looks like. So it's always nice to know even if it's always nice to know that you're doing the best you can with the focus. Like, well, there's not much I can do to mitigate that high frequency noise and seeing in the atmosphere, the wind. So I just focus to the best of my ability and try and make an image out of it at the end of the night. So I really kind of hope. So it's 5:30 a.m. now. The sun is going to start to come up somewhat soon. So I'm going to probably, maybe I'll do a couple more, maybe one more RGB run, then I'm going to switch to infrared. And do another infrared run. I'm gonna have to go check the telescope though, because we are past the meridian quite a bit. I don't want to have to do a meridian flip on the telescope, but if I have to, I have to. So I'm gonna go, while this is finishing, I'm gonna go check the telescope. Actually, I'm gonna set it to do one more capture while I check things out, because it'd be silly to waste that time. Time is not on our side. Let's move that over and up. Okay. Yeah, we're actually past the meridian. I'm imaging past the meridian right now. So what it means is there's a center line where things kind of hit their peak. So they come up on the one in the east, and then they set in the west. But because the planet is round, everything as it spins, things come up and they go around. So let's use this fancy BB-8. Okay. So Jupiter will come up in the east. Let's see, so it depends. We'll just say this, I don't care. So it'll come up in the east, and I need to adjust the scope while BB-8 is hanging out here. So it'll come up in the east and move, and this meridian point is a straight up and down line there. Okay, so it's an imaginary line where things hit their peak, and then they continue on the other side. Now, the problem is with my telescope, even though it's pretty much one of the best mounts, it's using one of the best kind of mounts for imaging. It's on an equatorial mount, so it'll follow Jupiter as the planet rotates, as our planet rotates, and Jupiter rotates in the sky. It'll follow Jupiter up here. Okay? And when it hits that center point, the telescope actually has to flip around the other direction. It's hard to explain, but when you see it, you'll really understand. And then you have to flip it around so that it can follow it down the other side. So what I'm doing right now is actually has passed that center line, where normally I'd have to do a flip, but the way my tripod is situated with the telescope and everything, I've got quite a bit of room that I can still image on the other side of the meridian. for a while at least. Okay, so that was doing pretty good. We've got a little more time. I'm going to get one more color run because I really want good color data. And then I'll switch to infrared. Ooh, actually, I see the sky brightening. So I'm going to ditch color, and I'm going to... Wait. Oops, I almost switched. I almost killed this color run. I'm going to ditch the color for now, and I'm going to go back to infrared. And we will, there we go. Okay, so now let's go back to infrared and see if we can capture some goodness. Some infrared goodness up in here. Dial in. So my infrared filter actually has quite a bit different focus point than the red and the green and the blue. It is a different filter. It's different thickness of glass and everything, so it's not at all compatible with the color filters. So I actually have to change focus quite a bit. I think I found pretty close to where I need to be. That's the wrong direction. Yeah. Yeah, seeing is not good. But doing our best here. Try and be extra careful on this focus because I don't want to waste this time. But I do want to get a decent shot in, if possible. Ooh. That might be some of the best contrast I've gotten. It's like I've got to turn my head and look slightly sideways. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and capture 120 seconds of infrared. Let's see how that works. Now before I capture another, actually while I capture another, I'm going to do a quick stack of this to see how good my focus is. After I adjusted it anyway. Okay, let's see, here we go, use this. So you can watch quickly what I'm doing. So I'm gonna drag the most recent capture of infrared into the stacking program. I need to adjust this quick. Okay. So that's there. Then I'm going to set it for planet. It's quite noisy. And we'll do a measly 10% stack. There. Alright, get that out of the way. Then I'm going to do a bunch of these here. Put one on the GRS. And then top, bottom, 2, 3, 1, 2. I need to move that back up. Okay, and then we'll just do a quick stack and let that go. So while that's going, we'll monitor this. Then we can look at how our data actually looks. So to see if, to kind of try and verify some of the focus. I'll come back to that when it's done. So while this is busy writing to the disk, the stacking app is reading from it. It's 5:40 a.m. here. We'll do another capture while we wait. This isn't quite done yet. Doesn't look too bad for infrared as far as the live view goes. So kind of hoping that it continues to be decent. Okay, so this is done. Now I'm just going to go ahead and close this, get that out of the way. This is still capturing. Now let's look at what that stack looked like. So here I've got these files here, and you can have auto stacker, the stacking software, give you So that's its version of what it considers the stacked data. That's what that looks like. So it's not great, but not horrible. I've seen much better. Luckily I did adjust focus, but I mean, we're getting detail here. You get different. It's really noisy. So that's a few more frames. That's what? That's 35%, where this was 10% of the sharpest frame. So it's not terrible, but it's not great. And then there's 50%. So yeah, that'll sharpen up a lot though in post-processing. So we're back to the live feed now. Let's that's definitely worse. Do it again. If it's noisy, it's noisy. That's fine. We can sharpen it up later. So we'll see. How many of those have we captured actually? We've got IR 1, 2, 3. We're working on the 4th. So we'll just kind of let this go and we'll do 5, 6 of these. Oh, I can already see the sunrise coming, so then we're going to be running into light. And we're going to have to go ahead and shut this down pretty quick. So we'll do maybe one more after this. We've got hard drive space. Let's fill it up. We can always clean it off later if we have to. Oh, I love this time of morning. It looks so beautiful out there. Can you use narrowband filters to shoot planets? I've never done it. I've never really seen anyone do it. I don't think there is a scientific reason to do so. I don't know what that would show that at least the scientists are interested in. So if you want to, by all means, do it and try it and see what happens. It's super narrow, so they're going to be very dim. The amount of light that it captures is not going to be, very much, but it's worth, try to see. I'm sure people have tried it, and there's probably a reason why we don't see images of planets in narrowband. There's not going to be a lot there that, we really want to see, but do it. Why not? Of any of them, hydrogen alpha might be the most interesting just because it's down there in the infrared area. It's in the lower infrared in between. So this what I'm shooting now, this is infrared, so it's not narrowband, but it's wideband infrared. It's from the 742 nanometer frequency. I'm not sure how wide it is, but it's a hell of a lot wider than hydrogen alpha narrowband, like a lot wider. Where your hydrogen alpha filters are going to be like 3, 5, 10 nanometers. This is much more. This is like, I don't know. I should actually look. The IR 742 bandwidth is, actually I just need to look. IR 742. I'll look now at what the bandwidth of that is versus, using something like hydrogen alpha. I'm looking it up now. Let's see here. 742 to, yeah, so this is in the and this is like almost 400, so it's about 350 nanometers wide, whereas your hydrogen alpha narrowband filter is going to be more 3, 5, maybe 10 at most nanometers. So it's going to be very, very dim, and there's not going to be a whole lot there that's super interesting on the planet, but do it. See what happens. Why not? Give it a try. If you don't have RGB filters, maybe you're asking because you only shoot in narrowband. You don't have RGB filters. But if you do have narrowband, you likely have a luminance filter. So if you want to try and shoot planets, with a luminance filter, it's early. It's almost time for bed. Then you could easily do that. You can shoot with a luminance filter. So it'd be black and white, but it's going to look good. It'll be nice. So that's nothing to sneeze at. It's definitely something worth trying. So where was I with this? How many of these do I have? I'm looking now. IRs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 7th one. I think we should probably do another one because I can. So I'm gonna. I keep trying to find a better focus and it just doesn't exist. I need to check the telescope again though. I'll be right back. Still safe for now. And I think this is my last capture, and then I'm going to close down the live stream. And close up shop. So as you can see behind me, the sky is starting to get bright. It's the end of the night for me. I'm gonna go shut the telescope down. I'm gonna take a nap, and then I'm gonna do my day job. Okay, thanks for watching.